And now, please welcome to the stage UiPath's founder and Chief Executive Officer, Daniel Dines.
Hello, everyone. It's such a gorgeous day here in Vegas. And Bobby set me up for really a great moment in the history of UiPath. Thank you all for coming here and sharing with us this moment. I think it's probably the most seminal moment in our history. And it's marking the beginning of our second act as a company. You know, last year in my keynote, I gave you the story of how we have built our first UiPath studio. And now, in reflection, I have realized that basically we have spent 10 years to build our first act as a company. This is the Act 1. And what was the essence of Act 1 was that we have built a technology that was capable of imitating people, how people work in front of computers, how people use business applications. And this technology was capable of dealing with structured information and rule-based processes. And we really have spent 10 years to perfect that technology. We have started with building precision computer vision models for screens. And in this way, our technology was always AI-powered, but was powered by precision models that always were trusted, and in a way, they had no agencies. From computer vision for screens, we moved and created our intelligent document processing arm. And we have created dedicated models to process invoices, purchase order, receipts, and you name it. So as long as the information was semi-structured, we could have created a model to deal with it. But in a way, the biggest lesson that we had throughout these years is that automation is really hard. It's very hard to deploy automation at scale. It's not only about the happy path in a process. It's all about the exceptions that appear. So you have to go back and recode the exceptions. You always need to monitor the bots. The user interfaces, other applications are fragile. You need to have people, always people in the loop to be there. And one of the key components that we built during this Act 1 was our orchestrator. And this is the core technology that is capable of orchestrating between robots, humans, monitor them, manage them, deploy them at scale. What made RPA successful in this phase was the capability of really running thousands of automations in a reliable way. We made RPA reliable and scalable at enterprise level. But we always knew we are limited in our power. The limitation was always the unstructured part of a process. We couldn't go. If the information is in natural language, hidden in long, complex documents, where the decision cannot be expressed in rules, we were really limited. And if we are frank, and if we look at most processes, you will see there is a combination between structured parts and unstructured parts. And actually, most of the time, they are really mixed one to each other. And most of the time, I would say the unstructured part is dominant. So we had to invent discovery tools to make recommendations to our customers. What's the best way to discover the structured part, isolate it, and put humans in the loop for the unstructured part. So in a way, a major theme for us was to reduce the human input into the process. And now, we are getting one of the most amazing technology that humans ever invented. In a way, this is like the genie is out of the bottle. The generative AI, we all know it. It's, I think, the first time in the history of humanity when we have access to a technology that can imitate our mind. RPA was capable of imitating the way we work, the sequential work that we do on applications. This technology imitates our mind. And it's the first technology, I think, that we built as humans that has agency. So basically, it's non-deterministic. You cannot predict the answer of Gen AI. It's simply impossible to predict the answer. So while we all understand that it's extremely powerful, its own nature makes it extremely difficult to use it in the context of an enterprise workflow. Because enterprise workflows needs to be reliable, deterministic. And our job right now, it's actually to make it exactly as I said, reliable and deterministic and capable of using into an enterprise workflow. And we are gonna spend the next few years in order to make it happen. This is the beginning of Act 2 of our company. But think about what kind of opportunities it unlocks. If we make it happen, and if we go after the unstructured parts of a process, we can go, first time, really, in our history, we can go end-to-end, process automations. We can reduce a lot the human input into processes. We can make humans only the decision makers into a real process. This is it's an incredible opportunity for all of us. And I will come back to the level of and size of the opportunity. But now I want to give you a bit of a sense. How do you plan to put the genie back in the box and control it? Because this is all about it. How can we control it? So we are introducing the notion of agents. They will be like prime citizens on our platform. And what is an agent, actually? So an agent has an instruction set, like a prompt in natural language, that describe the goal of the agent. Agent will have a memory where the interactions with it can be recorded. An agent will have access to a set of tools that can dynamically choose in order to achieve its goal. I think it's much easier to understand this concept with an example. So I'm using something that I think all of us can relate to. Like, what does it mean to build a travel agent that is supposed to book flights and hotels for employees in an enterprise? So first, we will have the prompt that describes what the agent does. So you are a travel agent, you work for company X, the employees of this company will connect to you and will ask you to find flights and hotel recommendations. You should recommend them this, and when they come back to you with their choice, you should go and book them. You should download company policy using the tools provided to you, and you should match the recommendations to make sure they obey the company policy. And I will give the agent a tool to extract company policy. I will give the agent a tool to go to Workday to understand who is the one that requests the information, because company policy is different in per each type of level in the company, so you need to understand the level of the employee that is requiring the information. And I will give another set of tools to search the web. I will give a tool for like maybe Delta. Maybe our company works mostly with Delta. So I will give a Delta robot, if you want, that is capable of finding flights on Delta. One for British Airways, one for American Airlines, and so on. I can give actually a few dozens of tools. Tools that finds hotels, tool that goes to aggregators. Now, the beautiful thing is that this agent, when can be asked in a natural language, next week I have to fly from London to New York, I have to go to work for 2 days, I need flights and I need a hotel. And then dynamically the agent understands who am I, and will go to robots, will go to British Airways, extract the information, maybe will go to Delta as well, extract the information. They will go, it will call another tool to find available hotels, make sure they are within the company policy, and make me some recommendations. Now, think about, this is just declared in natural language. It's no longer no if, then, else. If it's London, then I should go to British Airways. No, nothing like this. It's just natural language, and the LLM does the magic to match, to understand the intent of the language, to understand the information, and to call the appropriate tools. It's a very powerful concept. It would have been extremely difficult to express in rules all of these connections, links between information and tools. Think about a travel agent has this knowledge that they acquired when they work. They know in London to New York is connected by a few airlines. This is the knowledge that an LLM also possesses, because they read the entire internet. So they understand what airline serves which destination to which destination. So we combine basically the power of an LLM that understands, has basic human knowledge, with tools that are specific to an enterprise, and with a set of instructions that are specific to an enterprise, with this policy. This combination, it's remarkable in its power. This is why the agent is an important concept that we are making it as a first-class citizen in our platform. So if we look at what an agent is, so again, they understand language. They will understand the intent. I don't have to create a form and say, destination, New York, and then all of this. I can just talk to the agent in a natural form, and they can do dynamic routing, and they can execute robots in order to get data, to really to ground the answers in the real data. And also another important thing to note here, we all know that Gen AI can be unpredictable, so it's non-deterministic. So we cannot really give our passwords and our credentials to Gen AI. Look, can you really trust the agents? Because I think this is gonna be one of the most consequential decisions that we are making when we will deploy generative AI and agents in an enterprise context. How can we make sure they are reliable and they don't deviate from the goals that we ask them to. If I will give an agent my password, and the agent can go to Workday to find information on my behalf, I am not sure what the agent will do with that information. Agent can be subject to adversarial attacks, and they can go with my information and do something that I don't want the agent to do. But the way to limit it is to not give it full access to systems. We give it only limited access via robots. We already solved the problem how we can give an agent access, a robot access to a third system in a secure way. Our robots will never spill out the passwords they need because they are deterministic in nature. So it's an important combination to make agents more deterministic by surrounding them actually with robots and humans. Because think about it, in the beginning, the agents will make recommendations. Every time they will make recommendations, we will have robots that can validate some of the recommendations, but we will always have humans in the loop making the decisions. But in time, our goal is actually to reduce more and more the input in the process. And the way to achieve it is to really getting to a point where we start to trust the agent. And the agent will have this memory that I talked to you about. So from each interaction, the agent will learn more and more about the specific of the requests of a particular user. For instance, the agent in the case of the travel agent will see that I prefer a particular airline versus the other. And then the agent will start recommending, let's say British Airways most of the time, because this is what I prefer. And now, as I'm getting comfortable with the agent answers, I can add a simple rule. If the agent recommends British Airways and the ticket is less than, $3,000 or whatever, let's just go book it. Let's trust the agent for doing it. So even I can bypass humans even for simple validations, but we will get to a point where we'll get comfortable with the agents. Another critical aspect to deliver agents in a reliable way, it's actually orchestration. Agents don't exist in isolation. Agents will be part of an enterprise workflow. The capability to have a workflow that connects agents to other agents, to robots, to people, to models, to dedicated models, to maybe frontier models, it's really the critical piece. I am talking to many customers. Prior to coming to this forum, I spent like almost 6 weeks traveling the world. And I think everybody reacts when I mention to them, process orchestration is key to deploy Gen AI in enterprise context. It's an aha moment when say, yes, this is exactly what we expected. And it's also, who is going to create these agents? First of all, I think there will be many types of agents. UiPath is not going to build all the agents in the world. I think many business applications will offer capabilities to create agents. We are very happy to call them, to orchestrate them. Salesforce will have agents, Microsoft Dynamics will have agents, SAP will have agents, NetSuite will have agents. But our unique capability, it's actually we can provide our low-code studio to our automation developers to create agents. And we can have even citizen developers to create agents. We are going to see really a myriad of agents in the coming years. And also, I would like to talk a little bit of our key differentiators. Why UiPath agents? Yes, we are the Switzerland of business platforms. If agents are mimicking a subject matter expert, most of the time, these experts work on multiple platforms. They will have to work on SAP and Salesforce and so on. Because we are platform agnostic, we provide equal access to all the platforms. Our robots will provide the tools to the agent to connect to all of these platforms. So that really makes us unique. Another very interesting aspect, UiPath is the only technology in the world that was built specifically to run automations that imitate people. And this is more fragile, it's different than running pure API-based automation. We have the technology, we have the monitoring, the orchestration to run technologies that imitate people. GenAI fall into the same category. It imitates people. It has to run with the same level of controls and exception handlings. And we have the governance that we put around robots. You will have to control who can access the agents in the same way like who can access the robots. And in a way, if I can continue this metaphor of robots are low-skilled employees in a company, agents are more high-skilled employees. They both belong into the same platform to manage them. Like a company manages all its employees into Workday or SuccessFactors or whatever, we've believed that UiPath is the best platform to manage both your agents, robots, and enterprise workflow. And this is really a unique capability about us. But I think I spoke enough about agents from our perspective. I want to bring a good friend. I would like to invite Chandra Gnanasambandam. Chandra.
Thanks for having me here.
My friend.
All right.
So, Chandra, you also have done a lot of work about AI.
Yeah.
And I guess, what I said about agents and how you can bring the power of AI to enterprise kind of resonates with you.
Yes.
So I really want to get your take about it.
Sure. Thank you for having me here. I'll start by saying at McKinsey, we're actually just as excited about agents as you are, Daniel, and it's really a big day today. So we really see agents as an evolution of the AI computing architecture, Daniel, right? So in fact, you actually started this journey, I think, right? You really invented process automation, intelligent process automation. There were no robots till you came out and said, well, we will have robots. But robots were really good at solving basic workflows and really highly deterministic workflows. Then we had LLMs, and then with retrieval augmented generation, the RAG technique, right? There was a cognitive element that got added to it. And we think the next step in that evolution is really agents. To us, agents are all about solving complex workflows. They are really about solving the tough problems, right? Why does it matter? Because if you take almost any of the industry, the most value-creating processes are actually the complex workflows, right? So I'll take some real examples. So if you take banking, mortgages, loan origination is actually one of the most value-creating processes. If you get loan origination wrong, most of the banks will actually not do well. If you take trading, wholesale banking, Daniel, right? So credit risk evaluation and writing credit risk memos are actually very, very complicated. If you take insurance policy underwriting, all these are complex workflows, and you can't really solve them without agents. And the other thing I'll say is, it's not an or, it's an and. What I mean by that is, agents need tools. And those tools will be robots, because an agent needs to break down a complex workflow into tasks and subtasks. And at the subtask level, the only way to get deterministic is through robots. So that's why you can't have agent without robots. You can't have agent without LLMs. You can't have agents without an API layer, right? And so we really think it's an evolution of the AI architecture, but we also think it's an and. It's really, it's really agents plus LLMs plus robots. That's really the architecture that's going to solve the toughest problems in the world.
I like this idea of the toughest problems in the world, because actually I'm gonna give right after our little chat, I will give an example of one of the toughest problems that we can solve. But until then, how do you think customers are thinking about agentic workflow? What do you think is agentic workflows in the AI architecture?
Yeah. So this is, I'll take a real example, or I'll take a couple of examples. So one is, we are actually working with a client on, and it's actually a wholesale bank, on credit risk memos, Daniel, right? And so this is about where a credit risk analyst will have to write a credit risk memo. How do you really break down the task? Because that's something where if you actually get it wrong, it's going to destroy a ton of value. How do you really use, break down the credit risk memo process and really break it down and use robots for some parts of the process? For instance, you have to do some analysis, use some equity reports to do some analysis. That will be done by robots.
Yeah.
But then there are some complex reasoning when you write credit risk memos, right, in a wholesale bank. It's really the reasoning elements where an agent would come in.
Yeah. But what do you think it's needed to create a business case to use agents?
Yeah. This is a big one. Look, there are millions and millions of pilots. I think what we really see our clients struggle with is really scaling. So when I talk about business case, Daniel, I'll really talk about scaling a bit, or rolling it out across a whole enterprise, be it robot, be it agents. The key here is to really think about not just technology, but beyond technology. In fact, what we are consistently seeing is no more than 10–15% of the business case is actually technology. The rest of it is around change management. You have to rewire the way you work. If you have agents, if you have robot, you can't take a bad process and automate a bad process and really expect value. So you have to rewire the way you work. And so that is really the change management part. You have to change the operating model. You have to go upskill talent, right? And so it's really a combination. So 85–90% of the business case are actually the non-technology components. And it's really 10% is really the technology bit. But the one common foundation in all of this that we are seeing consistently is actually the data fabric, right? Just getting the data plumbing right, just getting the data architecture right is actually the common element. Yeah. But I would really encourage everyone here to think about both the technology bit, but also most importantly, the business change, operating model, and talent.
Yeah, so I think we are all in agreement this is going to be a material impact, for many businesses. But is there a way to quantify? Does you and McKinsey have kind of a view on the real business outcome and impact?
Yeah, so this has been an evolution. So we really, this journey started with a lot of talk about productivity, right? Because it was all about productivity, cost, and efficiency. Where we are really seeing is it has really evolved into beyond productivity. Cycle time to market, quality, experience, improving customer experience, improving employee experience. I'll take some real example. So we are actually serving a fairly large insurance company where they are really rolling out robots and, in fact, an early version of an agentic framework. The biggest impact, Daniel, is, and it's in the context of a policy modernization, journey they are on. They're really modernizing the policy platform and really rewiring the policy processes. Getting that program done in 20% faster time is close to $1 billion in impact for them. Yeah. And so that is about cycle time reduction.
Yeah.
I have another client where they are actually replatforming a old mainframe-based architecture. Again, just getting that 3 months early, is actually $1 billion in value because it's not cost. Getting these things, getting the cycle time reduced is all about revenue generation, market share gain, and so on. So it's really beyond productivity is really the way to think about it.
I think, Chandra, this is also existential for many enterprises today. If a new startup come after their business model and they can do it with 10% of the resources that they use today to run a business, there will be no competition. They can catch up extremely fast. There will be no walls right now. So I think it should be like a board priority, really, to get as fast as you can into this new sort of technology, right?
100%. Right. So this is at the top of the CEO agenda. This is at the top of the board agenda in almost every one of our clients. But it's really, I think we are also at an interesting moment, Daniel, which is CEOs and boards are actually struggling with value creation, quite frankly, right? So there has been a lot of investments in this, right? And look, just this year alone, right? I think in the next 12 months, spend on AI is going to cross $250 billion. The question is, what is the ROI? And if you say, hey, I need 10x in ROI from this, are we going to have $2.5 trillion in value created, right? From these transformations across large companies. And so there is a ton of excitement, but there is a big question mark on value creation. That is why the business case, right? Really knowing what business processes, breaking it down into activities and tasks, knowing where to use robots, knowing where to use agents, knowing where to use so that you don't really use a big LLM and spend all of the inferencing cost for a process that doesn't require it, right? So I would say the next 12 months, the next 2 years are all about demonstrating value from agents and automation and AI.
Yeah. No, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me here, Daniel.
Absolutely, man. So if we take something from my discussion with Chandra, first of all, now we can go after our hardest problems. We are no longer limited to the structure part of a process. And second, agents need robots to operate. It's a smooth transition from rule-based automation to these non-deterministic automations, and the key is to have agents using robots and people using agents. So it opens tremendous opportunities. We call it like 1 billion+ use cases. I think everywhere you look at, I think in all clerical tasks, processes, you can go and apply agents plus robots will make a significant improvement and a significant reduction in the resources need to run a business. And seriously, this is a board conversations. If you don't do it, other people will do it, and they will create a much more efficient business. I think interesting to also tap into Chandra's idea about how to create a business model. It's basically to understand in your complex processes what should go to robots, what should go maybe to models, dedicated models, what should go to agents. So look, this is an example of a claims denial process, which is a process I think all of us can face in our lives. So you go, you have a medical claim, and it's refused by the payer. So how this is gonna be processed? So imagine all of these steps, tasks were manual in the beginning. If we apply RPA, we can have two of the tasks automated, like appeal the denial and track the status. But look, it's not, if you think of it, it's not even as significant to even sometimes worth the effort. We've seen a lot of time this approach with customers where they were not even getting to automate the structure part of a process because it was too small to matter. But then, if you apply IDP, then we can get further into the process. And it's becoming much more appealing to go through this process, re-engineering and applying automation. But when we go and apply agentic automation, we can go for everything. And people will just be in the position to review the recommendations of the agents. This is the power of really going after the most difficult problems. Until now, when we were speaking with the customer, we always wanted to go with use cases per industry, we created this discovery tool, process mining, task mining. And now I think it's a simpler discussion. It's, what's your hardest problem? Let's go and fix it. What's the second hardest problem? Let's go and fix it. It's so powerful. And I think it's gonna be so effective. So, how these agents actually be part of an enterprise workflow? Who can trigger the agents? I think a lot of time, it's the business users that work on their desktops and they have the context to initiate a discussion with an agent, to initiate an agentic workflow. So you know that we launched our line of autopilots. The autopilots for developers to help you create automations, for testers to create tests, and they were really well received. But today, we are really launching in GA our autopilot for everyone. So every business user will have access to an autopilot that can actually initiate the discussion with these agents. And the autopilot can also understand the context you are working on, can make recommendations, can also do a lot of LLM tasks for you, like summarization of documents, extracting information from documents, even copy-pasting the information into forms, all dynamically. And as always, it's much better to have a customer speaking for us. And Dentsu, it's one of our first and largest customers. We work with Dentsu since 2017. I'm very pleased to introduce Alex Baudier, the global CIO of Dentsu, to talk about their experience with our new autopilot for everyone. Alex. Very nice to see you, Alex.
Nice to see you, Daniel, as usual. Morning, everybody.
So, Alex, maybe we can start by you giving us, a bit of information about what Dentsu is and what you guys are doing.
Sure. So, Dentsu is a Japanese company that was founded 123 years ago, so quite a long time ago in Tokyo, still headquartered out of Japan. And we claim to say that we are a global leader in integrated growth and transformation. We are a global organization. We operate in more than 120 countries. We are also a people-first organization because our biggest asset is our 71,000 people. And what we do basically is to deliver end-to-end experience transformation across media, customer experience management, and creativity. And it's all about how do we, I would say, deliver impactful transformation and innovation to our clients. And as you would have understood, it's all about client centricity and making an impact.
Yeah, so look, Dentsu was always one of the early adopters of our technology. And now with the Autopilot for everyone, you are basically literally one of the first, if not the first client that is rolling out to a big chunk of your workforce. So what's your feeling about technology and what's going on and what did you learn of this exercise?
Yeah, sure. So as you mentioned, I think it's, that partnership started in 2017, and we've been on a journey with you by adopting progressively all that amazing technology components you've been adding. I would say that Autopilot for everyone, my personal word for Autopilot for everyone is the Swiss Army knife, as you know. We started the pilot with your teams in May this year, and it's really transformational on how we can, I would say, put into the hands of our departments, of our users, quite neat technologies, and to help them, I would say, engineer themselves some solutions. We have an interesting, I would say, POC live currently with your teams, and it's about the year-end process, the self-evaluation that personally it's a process I hate. I hate doing that, but it's very important when you are in a people, I would say, organization, that we all go through that process. And it's about policies, it's about what are your goals, it's about, I would say, how things are happening, how do you write that in a convenient way. So all the ingredients you can find in Autopilot. A little bit of LLM, a little bit of context grounding, all of that. There will be a formal demo later on, but I think the return has been extremely positive from our user community. They love it, to be honest. And it's really, for me, a next step in how do we further empower our business users into those transformation journeys.
So, look, it seems that you've built a very successful operating model at Dentsu to really launch automation at scale. Can you give us a hint about it?
Yeah, sure. I guess what we've been doing, like many companies, we started through total fragmentation. And we had, I would say, different pods, on-prem solution. The first step has been, I would say, from a tech standpoint, to bring everybody on a unique central cloud platform, the UiPath cloud platform, and to implement the right governance. I think the idea was to say, let's try to take care centrally of some of the painful complexity of provisioning systems, but empower our regions and our market to really drive and deliver innovation with the platform. And to make that happen, because as we all know, I would say, all those technologies are constantly evolving. We've been building quite an impressive network across the organization. And I guess initially we had two networks. Okay? One was around AI. It's a community. We created a community around AI, socializing usage, socializing what we can do, having people cross-collaborating and connecting together. We had another community dedicated to automation. At the end of last year, that, I would say, community around automation was 1,700 people. We merged the two communities at the beginning of the year because I'm a strong believer that AI and automation will have to work together, and they are complementary, of course. And since then, it has grown the interest, and we are now up to 7,000 members, active members with daily interactions. And we are, I would say, leveraging the community by delivering hackathons 4 to 6 times per year on the various platforms to try to find use case. So it's very, very, very interesting. A couple of numbers. We've got 700 live, I would say, automations. I would say various, aspects of complexity. 180 citizen developers, 70 professional developers. And the overall strategy is how do we further continue the empowerment of our end user so that we can scale all that good stuff across the organization.
So that's amazing, Alex. So given your strategic interest in AI, what's your longer-term view of adopting? Do you have some kind of specific use cases in mind?
We do have a couple of use cases, obviously. I guess the overall North Star is how do we AIs and automatize our operations. That's, I would say, what we are striving is to see how can we be more efficient, more agile. And it's not only about cost. Cost is one element, but it's a lot about agility also, and how we can, I would say, transform quicker and adapt to our client, which is our priority. So obviously for us, one of our high level of complexity is the media supply chain. The media supply chain is very fragmented. It's very different from markets to markets. New channels appear every day, new social networks, etc. So it's a never-evolving, I would say, landscape where We need, I would say, to have a lot of decision making. There's a lot of error, etc. So I'm a strong believer that here, Agentic will be the game changer and help us totally revolutionize those processes.
Well, Alex, I'm looking forward to partner with you for the future. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you very much for inviting me, Daniel.
Well, I think by this moment, we kind of are in agreement that this is a huge opportunity for all of us. It's a huge opportunity for UiPath as a company. That's really the technology and the moment we were waiting for. And I think it's a huge opportunity for our customers, and especially for the center of excellences that many of our customers has built, and they have amazing people there. And it's, I think, an incredible career progression from like building robots into building agents, into orchestrating between agents and robots, deploying them at a large scale. To me, again, this is a seminal moment when we have to be all in into this direction. It's not gonna work with half type of decisions. At UiPath, we are really becoming all in into building agentic automation to life. And I wish that most of our customers will be all in as well. And also, tremendously important, our partners. And as you know, UiPath is a company that has always relied on partners for the implementation of our technology. And it's not gonna be different with agentic automation. To me, this is actually an even much bigger opportunity for our partners. And we have built our technology a lot with the help of our customers and our partners. And one particular partner comes to mind, and it is Capgemini. We start working with them since 2014. Actually, the first version of our orchestrator technology was built kind of together, according to their requirements and specifications. Now, I have the honor and pleasure to invite with me on the stage the CEO of Capgemini Business Services, Oliver Pfeil. Oliver.
Daniel.
So great to have you here, Oliver.
See you.
Thank you, and thank you once again to be such an amazing partner for us, as I said. So, what excites you most about how, automations deliver value to clients today, and where do you see the biggest breakthrough coming?
Yeah. First of all, thanks for inviting me, Daniel. I think we had a tremendous journey together, and I think we will discover through the discussions probably that there was Act 1 and there's Act 2, as I said. Yeah. I think that is also for our partnership. There's a lot ahead of us. So let me expand a bit on the question. So when I think about, and probably everybody in the room, automation, I think when we look at what is ahead of us, I think that everybody's excited about the opportunity to leverage the newest technologies to really transform and automate business processes to the next level. I think that's clear. But I want to be very clear. From my perspective, I'm a big defender of business-led transformation supported by technology, and not vice versa. I've seen a lot of transformations which were coming out of the IT departments, and the value at the end of the day was not delivered at the expected level. And I'm saying that when I took over business services in 2022, I looked at what we have as an asset, and we are the experts of processes, okay? We understand processes, we understand business roles, we understand operating models. And when I take what we have combined with what the rest of Capgemini Group can bring in technology and data and consulting, plus our partners like UiPath, I think we have a huge opportunity ahead to help our clients transform themselves in really data-driven, highly automated business operations, delivering not only cost efficiency, but also value and business outcomes. And that is absolutely key to me, because what really excites me the most is when we start to combine efficiency and cost reduction with value and outcomes. And if you're okay, I'll give a quick example, because I think we are on the journey. So we work with a global logistics company. We do their ship-to-collect process, okay? And it's a massive process, big operation. There's one particular part in the process which takes the biggest effort, complexity. It's the case management. They get 30,000 cases a day, okay? So we looked at that, highly manual, a lot of different data sets, structured, unstructured, different departments, and we built an automation solution for that, okay? And this solution is basically taking RPA, AI, Gen AI, different technologies, and where we end up with is a significant part of that workforce has been automated through self-service. Yeah. The rest of the operations is going into augmented agents, okay? So huge benefit in terms of efficiency, but also huge benefits for the client in terms of NPS increase, revenue increase, and working capital increase. So when you quantify those things, they become much bigger in terms of value to the enterprise than the pure cost savings that we can deliver. And when you now add Agentic to that, you can imagine how we move the remaining part into more autonomous processes. So very exciting.
I fully agree. This is also what we are trying to pitch most of the time to our clients. It's about the outcomes. It's about the value creation. But speaking about early adopters, Capgemini's business services build really a transformation engine to support robotic and agentic future. So could you share what you believe are the most valuable and differentiating elements of your agenda or any GBS organization for the matter, and how UiPath technology and agentic plays a role into amplifying these business outcomes?
Yes. So first of all, I think when I listened, there was a lot of interesting things, and it's all what we do in the next frontier is about scale, okay? It's coming not with use cases which cannot be economically viable, it's about scale. And we work a lot with global business services organizations with our clients. By the way, we call them now generative business services because we want to shift, I think we help them to shift their focus from pure cost to innovation, transformation, and business outcomes, so that they are repositioned in the enterprise to really drive value and not anymore just being seen as a cost center. When you say that, you'll elevate them to a different strategic level, which allows them to integrate more processes into those organizations, which allows them to get to more end-to-end processes. And that is where it's becoming very interesting, because you have end-to-end processes, you start to see the value chain across these processes, you see the data, and you can start to automate. And that's where I think when you look at what we have built, and here's the ecosystem play which is very important. When they do this and reposition themselves, there's a lot of more focus into the strategic areas, alignment with their stakeholders, and that requires ecosystem players to execute, okay? And I think we are positioning ourselves as an ecosystem player in terms of driving process excellence, being the process orchestrators and the business orchestrators. We understand their businesses super well. And we built what we call a global enterprise model. I think it's an automation platform which helps clients to accelerate on their transformation path. And when you look at that platform, what it has basically, it has all the processes laid out, best-in-class processes, which are the target the clients transform to. And in that, we have the data flows and we have the automation tools. And I think that's where we then engage with partners like UiPath and others to really build that automation engine. And I think what you said resonated very much to me is there will be a lot of different agents, there will be a lot of different tools, but there is the requirement of orchestration. And I think that's where I see our partnership probably evolving in the future, because this kind of business orchestration and technology orchestration has to come together to actually provide superior value.
Yeah, I fully agree. So do you think you will build a practice around agentic automation in Capgemini? And also, as these systems will have more autonomy, how do you think about advanced governance, security, trust, and even ethical considerations into the automation program.
It's a key point. I think a lot of that will depend on the experience we'll see. But to your first point, we have already built generative technology COEs in the group, in business services, but also broader in the group. As a group, we are investing 2 billion into generative technologies. I think a lot around training and reskilling, obviously, but also building assets. So we have those things already in place. Obviously, we will expand them as we go along the journey. So that is key. Then the other part, which is around trust, I think the governance and all these things. What I don't know what you think, but I think it's interesting because it's a journey. You don't jump from one day to the other day to a fully autonomous system, agentic system, but you go on a path, okay? And you will have different humans in the loop, but you will have different roles now in your organizations when it comes to governance, which are quality assurance roles, okay? Which check the system, which check the data, which check the outcome. And as you go and you get quality assurance, as you said, you get more comfortable about the agents and the quality of the agents, and you will gradually take out human interactions. So that, I think, for me, is a journey, and I think we are on a good path there. We have the right governance models in place. When it comes to ethic, I think that is a key point, because very early in Capgemini, we built what we call, I think, AI ethics code of conduct, I think, to align everybody of what we want to do and what we don't want to do. We built a kind of an AI ethics council, which is reviewing basically all solutions and offerings we do with AI embedded and agentic embedded in the future. So to make sure they are compliant with local laws, they are compliant with data privacy laws, they're not biased by it itself. So all this is extremely well monitored and controlled through one single body in our organization. And the last thing we have done now, the last 18 months, we have built a platform which we call RACE, which is a kind of responsible AI engineering. And we embedded a lot of those guardrails into the platform. Yeah. And the platform enables you to scale, I think, use cases much faster and more importantly, much more cost efficient, because nobody talks about the use of language models and the cost related to that. And we have in that platform embedded new ways of working with large language models, which allows us to reduce the cost related to those by up to 70%. So a lot going on from ethics and development and costs. So we're on a great path.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Looking forward to partnering with you even more.
I think there's a lot for us to do together for the Act 2, Daniel.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Well, to continue Oliver's point, I think we are all going through a big transformation because of what AI can bring to us. And we at UiPath, we aim to become an AI native company. And literally that starts with our development processes. Maybe a year ago, I thought that it's not much you can build on the top of an LLM. But now I completely changed my mind. I think all our engineering processes have to be reimaged to understand how we can actually use what's the best AI in the best context, how we can really orchestrate and bring together the best of robots, AI. It's even in how we write code. If you look at, new companies like Cursor AI, they change basically the game and how developers write code. Another great thing for us is that agentic automation gives us focus and priority. I think maybe in the last couple of years, we were spread too thin. So we were trying to do too many things. But now we have the direction. Everyone in UiPath goes into one direction, to bring agentic automation to life and to bring it to our customers and to our partners. And I wish that all of you will embark into becoming AI native companies. I think this is the only way to be ready for what the future will bring. And I want to build this future together with you guys. It's a great pleasure and honor to be here in front of so many friends, so many people that are very close to us and participated with us in our journey. Thank you so much. And really, I hope you will have an amazing next couple of days. You learn a lot about what we are building here, but also we can learn a lot about your needs and how we can help you become better AI practitioners. Thank you so much. Thank you.